republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee Hatton? Yes. Trustee McGurran?
Yes. I'd like to welcome Trustee Don Bennett to the board and Trustee Andrea Hatton to the board tonight for their first meetings. Thank you both.
You.
The first motion, move for the adoption of motion number 26-001 to nominate and appoint Russell A. McGurran to the position of President of the Board of Trustees for 2026. Need a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Hatton? Yes. Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
I'll abstain. Thank you. For the adoption of motion number 26-002 to nominate and appoint Donald Bennett to the position of Vice President of the Board of Trustees for 2026. Need a second.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Hatton? Yes. Trustee Bennett?
I'll abstain.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Move for the adoption of motion number 26-003 to dispense with the reading of the minutes from the December 4th, 2025 regular meeting and the December 18th, 2025 work session. Need a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Hatton? Yes. Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Move for the adoption of motion number 26-004 to approve the minutes of the December 4th, 2025 regular meeting. Second.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Hatton? Yes. Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Move for the adoption of motion number 26-005 to approve the minutes of the December 18th, 2025 work session. I need a second.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Hatton? Yes. Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Police Chief Gerhardt has something to present. Sir?
Thank you, sir. Just by way of formality, Officer Lemmer has been working crazy for us out there on the road after graduating in the police academy, but we never got around to his official swearing in with the board. So we're going to take care of that procedural today, even though he's already done his oath with me like they all do when they first start. So that's what we have to do. So come on up.
Lemmer.
You want to get pictures?
We'll probably move our chair to the side. I, Michael Lemmer, do solemnly swear
I, Michael Leonard, do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the Constitution and laws of the United States of America
to uphold the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America
and the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio
and the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio
and the resolutions and laws of Ross Township, Butler County, Ohio,
and the laws and resolution of Butler County, Ohio,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
perform the duties of the office of police officer
to the best of my abilities, to perform the duties of police officer
to which I have been appointed.
to which I have been appointed.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Oh, no, you got pictures. Nice try, though. Oh, you guys go through with that?
Who's that?
Can I take a picture with that? I need this. Thank you. Ooh, good job. There's so many to take a picture. And then ready? Look forward. Look forward. This is hard work, guys. Okay. Ready?
1, 2, 3, we're gonna cheese. I'm gonna 1, 2, 3, cheese. Or something to that effect.
Sorry. Okay, yeah, good job.
And then the cheek, the
Yeah.
personnel.
There. Let's get out of the way.
Good job, guys. Trustees, please.
All right, sit down here.
Are we still gonna get between flags? That would be awesome. You're fine.
All right.
Good. The flags, it makes me happy. All right, good job. Very obedient. Do you want some of the personnel since we have it here?
Yeah, they love being in photos. They know me. That's
Oh, yeah.
Like a mug shot.
You want to go
Totally
to?
different.
That is-
Oh, come on, Tina. How you doing? Tina, get up here now. You're not a rep the females, so take one for the team.
Yeah, but.
Wow. All right,
But love.
good chat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Come, Bobby. Come, Bobby. Come, Bobby.
Amazing. How that-
Thank you.
Lady. Why?
Must have had a lot of practice over the holidays because I got them all in the same picture. Public participation. Individuals who wish to address the board must speak from the podium and state their name and address for the record. Points should be made clearly and concisely within the 5-minute time limit. One person's time may not be yielded to another. Comments should be directed toward the board with courtesy and respect. Any responses from the board will be delivered in like kind. Anyone wish to speak tonight?
I didn't have any papers, but
Reports. Fiscal Officer Julie Joyce Smith.
good evening, everybody. Tonight I have for the board to review and to sign a few things. The first are certifications for purchase orders and checks written since the last meeting. Please keep in mind that everything for purposes tonight is through December 31st. So 2026 business will not be reported until February. So I have that for you to review and to sign. Now, going into the reports, there are two in front of you that have a blue banner on them. The very first one are the township receipts for the month of December. It is a two-sided report. We received revenue in the amount of $127,897.69. And for the benefit, and you'll hear me say this a lot tonight, for the benefit of our two new trustees. If a receipt is split amongst multiple funds, you will see the total receipt in column, which is the second in from the end on the right. And then it'll tell you how much goes into each fund. And for the benefit of everyone, I printed out a chart of accounts for the trustees tonight, and this is the most up-to-date. This is our accounting system, essentially, the general fund. And then I color code the different departments. Road is in green, police is in blue, and fire is in that salmon-y color. It's as close as I can get to red. It all makes sense to me as to why I've color coded them that way. But that way you can find them a lot quicker. There are a few funds that we're going to either try to phase out or spend down, but we can talk about that a little bit more. So the account code in the middle of the report will tell you what fund it went into. I try to be as descriptive in the purpose as it is humanly possible. But anytime you might have a question about a receipt, a grant, and a lot of times these are grants, sometimes these are just standard payments. Get a lot of EMS money when we get made whole. Well, not made whole, but we receive dollars back on EMS runs. So that's the first report bannered in blue. The second report bannered in blue is basically a repeat of what I reported at the December meeting. Our annual interest to date on our hybrid checking account, the total was $25,304.02 for the year. Prior year, we had collected $12,763. So by creating one hybrid account, we are receiving way more in interest, which is a good thing. I do not receive the receipts from First Financial on the prior month until the 15th of the month. So this is just a repeat, but I didn't want to miss an opportunity because I don't think I had it for the December meeting for some bizarre reason. The next item that I want to go over is the fund summary. And this is just a really quick look at our funds, and it kind of includes revenues and expenditures, encumbrances, and those are typically things are being held open on a purchase order, and then the potential unencumbered fund balance. This is not something that we need to get real excited about yet because I still have a lot of payments that will come in this first couple weeks of January that are 25 bills. So there are quite a few purchase orders still open from 25. I have scheduled an appointment with the Auditor of State to help me come in and close my year on February 20th. So that's probably the meeting in March 1st will be the first time we actually get to see actual carryovers on our revenue. Then I have management reports for you. The first one was the fund summary. The second one is the revenue summary. And a lot of times I will include what percentage of the year we're in. But since this was the December 31st, we are 100%, should be 100% received. And in most cases in the revenue bucket, you will see that we largely exceeded the amount that we anticipated. So, and then if we were under for any reason, it could be that those are things not within our control. The first one that jumps out to me is Fund 2221, Drug Law Enforcement. That is strictly through fines collected through Hamilton Municipal Court. We anticipated $1,000 last year. We actually received 325, which is well under, but we really don't expend much out of this account. So we're not in the fear of overspending because they're very limited funds as to what we can, they're restricted funds as to what we can spend them on. The next item is the appropriation summary as of December 31st. Appropriations, this is just what we've spent year to date. A lot of this is going to correspond with the fund summary. And again, still have bills that are going to come in that need to be paid for 2025. So this is still in play until I close the year in February. And then after that, something comes in and I don't have an open purchase order for it, then it's going to come out of 26 revenues, which is unfortunate, but that's the world we live in. The next item I will have for you to review and sign is called an appropriation supplemental report. And basically, because of the way we approve our budget, we approve at the lowest legal limit, which allows me to move money within a fund. So for example, in the general fund, if we run short in the supplies, but we have way more than what we need in contract services, I can manipulate that money without coming to the board and saying, I need a motion to approve these changes in appropriations. Because we approve the budget at a truncated version, and it gives me the latitude to do that. But as a result of that, I provide you a monthly review of how I move money around. A lot of times in December, there's a lot of movement just because some funds are coming up short in one bucket and we have an excess in another. And to borrow the expression, I have to rob Peter to pay Paul, but it's all within the same fund. So I'm only moving money within the police budget, only moving money in the fire budget. The only fund that can move to other funds is the general fund, and that must be done by resolution. So you'll not see me taking money out of the general fund and giving it to the road department unless there's been a legislative action allowing me to do that. And and we can talk more about that as if the need comes up as the year progresses. So that's just the supplemental report. And I've included a stick note where I need the board's signatures on the second page. Moving on, I have a bank reconciliation. I know myself, so I'm going to hold off on bank reconciliation. This is the December 31st bank statement. I make sure that the final statement in December matches our bank balances. we have a CD and we have the hybrid checking account. And I make sure that those balance and I make sure that we don't have any, and actually in this case, I did find an error that I had made in paying a Duke bill. I overpaid it by 2 cents. And when the bill came in, I was out 2 cents. So I knew I had to go find it. So I was able to adjust the payment on my side and it balanced to the bank. So I will tell you that bank statements and UAN need to be done monthly, and they will be provided to you monthly with an exception in the first of the year. While I am in what I call temporary mode, while I have 1 foot in 25 and 1 foot in 26, I am not allowed to do a bank reconciliation for January until I close the year. So when I close the year in February, I will go back and create a January bank reconciliation. I will keep a February. I will also tell you that I don't just ignore it. I still balance it on my end in an Excel spreadsheet so that when I go to do it, it's much easier to do. This bank reconciliation also includes any outstanding payments. I try to make sure we don't have anything more than 30 or 60 days. On our November, we did have one vendor. For some reason, they are really slow pay. And I've had numerous times this year where the checks just were not received. I have to end up voiding them, reissuing them. So we're moving to a credit card payment with them moving forward because it's just unnecessary that they're that slow.
Who is that?
Town Web, and they host our website. So I think they're based out of Wisconsin, but I'm telling you, we have other vendors that we mail checks to further away that get processed a whole lot faster. So I think they're a very small, probably cottage industry, and they just don't have a good. So we're moving to a credit card, and there's no fee to do it. So we're just going to do it and be done.
I was going to ask.
That's how I spent a large portion of my last 2 weeks, was just playing tag with them. Moving on from the bank reconciliation for you to review and sign is also the monthly credit card attestation. This is actually a little behind. It's the November gets paid in December. So when you look at this, and I will ask you to review it, you're going to see everyone who has a credit card, how much they spent for that month. And then attached is the actual what all the items were. So you can see what we're paying. I will tell you, I audit every receipt that comes through. And we've had some problems with First Financial, the business center, getting cards canceled and getting new cards established. So that's in the works. So but that won't be till January, probably February's meeting was when you'll get to see the January bills. And then I did provide you the hybrid checking account. And again, I talked about that already. And that's it for my reports. I do have some legislation coming up that I can present, but does anyone have any questions? I have offered in the past, especially for new trustees, if you ever want to come in and we can sit and talk about how, why. There's other reports that I can provide. If there's things that you would like to see more detail on. If when you're looking at the purchase orders and the checks certification, the way that works is you approve purchase orders, and by default, you are approving my ability to pay it, which is part of a motion that comes later in the meeting where you give me the authority to pay the bills as presented through my purchase order. So basically, when you're reviewing the checks written, there's no way to stop that check. That check is already out the door and gone. If there's ever a vendor, as you get to looking on payments, is why are we using this vendor? There might be a better option out there. We can certainly talk about that. Changing is not a problem for me or for the departments. So I know there's a lot of information and I don't want to bombard you and overwhelm you, but if there's any questions with all that, feel free to reach out to me. If you ask a question that I can't answer in the meeting because I don't have it in front of me, I will typically respond to you via email and to avoid sunshine law violations. If Trustee Hatton asked a question, I would respond to all three of you. That way, all three of you have the information So moving forward, that's that.
This could also be a work session topic, a deeper
Yes,
dive
we
into
can
these
also
reports.
do a full-blown, this is how this works in a work session. That's a great topic. And after you review things tonight, if there's something you want to add as a work session, I'm sure Administrator Kyle would be, you don't have to come up with your list tonight. If there's something that when you're reading through going, I would like a better understanding of this report, she can certainly add it to the agenda for the work session. So if there's no questions, just gonna now later for your consideration, there is the standard fiscal policy for 2026 that will be is just how we operate through the course of the year. It includes a lot of information in it. There's a lot of moving parts. It's asking for advances from the auditor. We do transfers from the general fund to other departments, and just basically how we are going to conduct our finances in this coming year. Then we're going to have, you are going to have legislation to just approve the staffing levels and pay summary rates. And this would have been in accordance with how things were determined during the budget hearings. And then I have a standing contract with the Ohio Auditor of State, their local government services division. They're a great resource. They help fiscal officers a lot with a lot of things, and some things are time and materials, so they will bill you for it. But I have them come in and help me close my year, and I also have them help me with the Hinkle reporting, which is something that I'm required to do. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a certified public accountant. I feel better having someone from their office who understands the gap requirements, the changes in the laws. I like to have their expertise sitting and holding my hand as we close the year. I usually enter into an 8-hour at $50, $400 contract every year, and this is the one that's going to be before you later. That's exactly what we're entering into, and I can tell you we've never spent the whole $800. I think the most we've ever spent is $400 or $500. But with any balance in the year, if something weird comes up and we need help or I need help, they have a time and materials left on it. And I don't have to come back for you and ask you to approve a purchase order to have them. So it's a nice safety policy. I think it's a good safety net. And I encourage other fiscal officers to do the same because they are a wealth of knowledge. And then finally, the last motion for you to, under my section, is the motion for me to pay the bills and keep us going. So that's all I have for you.
Does that CPA person you were talking about for the $400 or $800, do they help if there's any questions that arise from an audit?
They can. 9 times out of 10, they will respond with help without any kind of bill.
Okay.
But the end of year and the Hinkle filing, we do, like I said, I scheduled it for February 20th. She'll come in at about 10. She's usually gone by 1. And we do have to pay her travel time. So it's usually a 4-hour max. But if we got into something, or if there's some new GAAP rulings or GASB accounting changes that are tricky, we could use the whole 8 hours. But typically, since we've been in office, we haven't exceeded that. So
I just had one other question.
it also helps. They were who I asked about our last audit when we had a little bit of a hiccup with, and they were going to do a finding for recovery. And I came back with, my response was, well, what portion is the auditor of state going to take? And they said, well, I said, well, I asked the LGS person on 2 separate occasions and was told, because you're this, because you're that, it doesn't qualify. And it turned out as being an issue. And I brought it to their attention, and we resolved it, but they were going to, once I asked them if they were going to take a portion of the finding for recovery, they amazingly decided no, that there would be no finding. So we just got to slap and dot it, and we move on.
Insurance policy. Is it safe to say that the police department is underperforming when it comes to fines and forfeitures? Contrary to public.
The statute on
Yeah, that would
the fines come through Hamilton Municipal Court, And by statute, the bulk of the fines go into the general fund, and that's why we do, one of our first actions is to transfer funds. And they far exceeded what we expected, but we have no control over it. We get so little on that.
So in fact, they're not writing tickets to fund the township in any way, shape.
I know people think that, but
I think we
no,
could write
it's
it up.
true. We do very little.
You get accused of that once in a while.
Sure.
You get accused of that, and that is clearly not the case.
That is correct.
But that's a great question. Thanks for asking, Trustee McGurran.
Anything else?
No, I will be quiet.
The auditor of the state of Ohio requires certain policies be established to allow for strict internal controls on the public's money. This resolution sets that policy. Move for the adoption of resolution number 2026-001, adopting the Ross Township fiscal policies for fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026, authorizing transfer from the general fund of Ross Township to various other funds pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 5705.40E, and requesting the county auditor to make advance payments of taxes throughout fiscal year 2026 pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 321.34. Need a second?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Hatton?
Yes.
Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Purpose 2026 appropriations budget was the sole topic of conversation at a special meeting of the board on November 19th, 2025, and as part of the work session on November 20th, 2025. The following resolution approves pay increases under the 2026 appropriations budget. Move for the adoption of resolution number 2026-002, approving the staffing level and pay summary rates for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026. Need a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Hatton?
Yes.
Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Purpose, the fiscal officer has requested permission to enter into an agreement with the Ohio Auditor of State's Local Government Services Division to provide training and consultation for services for 2026. The following resolution approves that agreement. Move for the adoption of resolution number 2026-003, authorizing an agreement with the Ohio Auditor of State's Local Government Services Division to provide consulting services to the fiscal officer as it may relate to their job duties, Ohio budgetary law, and other statutory requirements relating to the accounting and reporting function of the township. Need a second?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Hatton?
Yes.
Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Purpose, approval to pay the bills. Move for the adoption of motion number 26-006 to pay the bills as presented through the fiscal officer's certification of purchase orders. Need a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Hatton?
Yes.
Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Department reports, Administrator Lori Kyle.
Good evening. First, I'd like to welcome Trustees Hatton and Bennett onto the board. I look forward to supporting you as you serve the wonderful Ross community. Other than two pieces of legislation, the only thing that I have for you this evening is the nuisance abatement status report. There are two properties that have transferred from 2025 into 2026. One of them I am seeking assistance with Butler County zoning to address, and the other property is having some partial compliance. So I will be monitoring both of those. The two pieces of legislation, first is the annual housekeeping resolution. Within that resolution, you define the schedule for meetings for the board for the year. You confirm appointments to various boards and committees. You set the elected officials' travel expense policy, and you also declare the intent to sell items that are no longer needed by the township by the means of an internet auction. And the second piece of legislation is to put a new property into the nuisance abatement process. There's a picture of the property before you. There's accumulated debris in a refrigerator that I have been told has been there for a while. As you will see, I did take the picture quite a few days ago. I will drive by the property before I actually mail the official letter just to make sure that the property is status quo. I did forward the new trustees the nuisance abatement procedure and policy. So if you have any questions about the procedure itself, you can let me know. But that's all that administration has this evening.
Thank you, Lori. This resolution adopts those housekeeping measures. Move for the adoption of resolution number 2026-004, establishing the schedule for meetings for the Board of Trustees, confirming appointments to various boards or committees, adopting an elected official's travel expense policy, and declaring intent to conduct an internet auction for sale of unneeded, obsolete, or unfit township personal property for the fiscal year 2026. I need a second.
Second?
Discussion. Roll call.
Trustee Hatton?
Yes.
Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Purpose: the township administrator has provided evidence of a nuisance violation to exist at property on Robin Avenue. This resolution declares that property to be a nuisance and orders its abatement. Move for the adoption of resolution number 2026-005, declaring a nuisance for accumulated debris at 2150 Robin Avenue. Need a second.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Trustee Hatton?
Yes.
Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Fire Department, Chief Chris Johns.
Good evening. I also like to welcome Trustee Bennett and Hatton to the board. I look forward to working with both of you the next couple of years. A few items tonight. The first one's the monthly and annual run report for December. We made 152 calls for service in December. And for 2025, you'll see on page 3, we made 1,630 calls for service, which is up between 7 and 8% from 24. Fire inspections for the year. Lieutenant Meyer sent me the report. He's completed 115 commercial building inspections, which I believe it's the first time that we've ever got every business inspected in Ross Township. So Lieutenant Meyer's done an excellent job with the inspection program in Ross. And he's working with the business owners to get any violations that are out there corrected still. A couple personnel updates. We had 2 members recently complete paramedic class and are now both certified paramedics, Cade Tatum and Eliza Jones. And once they are complete with their paramedic orientation, I will recommend the board bump them to paramedic pay from their firefighter EMT pay that they are at now. Grant update. We have received notice from Workers' Comp that we received the Firefighter Exposure to Environmental Elements Grant in amount of $11,685. That's going to go purchase a drying cabinet for our turnout gear. So after we wash our turnout gear after every structure fire, it has to hang in the bay and dry, which sometimes takes a few days. And we don't have the luxury of having 2 sets of turnout gear for each member. So this will quickly dry the gear so it's back in service rather soon. And another note, in 2025, we received almost $93,000 in grants from various sources. And that's going to be in my annual report, which I should have out in February to all of you. A couple pieces of legislation. The first one is to accept that safety intervention grant from Workers' Comp. I believe that was a 5-to-1 match. I think we are responsible for about $2,300 of that price of that drying cabinet. And the second one is in order to be self-sufficient, we need to renew the 3 mil levy that is up in November. we need to get this on the books and get it done so we have some constant source of income. But we also need to revisit increasing that millage in the fall. Captain Embry has put a report together for me. In 2025, there were 2,052 hours that we were short-staffed, that we did not have adequate staffing. That's 98 full days, or 27% of the year that we had one firehouse closed. And that's unacceptable to me. If we had a central station, it wouldn't be as bad, but the stations are so far apart, it's 7 to 8 minutes to get from one end of the district to the other. And for cardiac arrest, a structure fire, car accident with entrapment, 1 minute can make a big difference. And we really need to get this another additional levy on to support staffing. It's great. I have a lot of experienced part-time personnel, but they're part-time. Their loyalties to their full-time job as it should be. I can't force them to come in on their day off and work. I can force the full-time personnel to come in and work. Right now, we only have 4, and that's not cutting it. So it's not fear-mongering. It's facts. This is where we're at. And he also noted 75 runs were affected by delay response time due to the short staffing. So that's something we'll have to get together and discuss soon. And that's all I have for you tonight.
Looking at the numbers from 23 to 25, your runs are up 22%. And from 24 to 25, just over the year, they're up 8%.
Yes.
How are you making that work?
We make it work, but there's some calls that we have to give away that other departments have to take for us because we don't have the staffing to do it. This is the number of times that we were called for service. It doesn't necessarily mean that's the number of calls we responded to. There are some that we had to call mutual aid to cover because we were not available. But I still have to make a run report for the state for that call, that dispatch.
Is this attributed to a rise in population or anything else?
It's everywhere. It's hard to tell. It's, this year so far, we've hardly turned a wheel. It's been really slow the last week, which, I probably jinxed it now.
No, you've done.
Yeah.
Did you say aging population as well?
Aging population, the other area departments are getting busier, so they're calling us more to cover their calls. So it's kind of a vicious cycle.
And unfortunately, to get this on the May ballot, we're in a little bit of a time crunch. Not that the board could convene some special meetings to talk about it more, but the process requires 2 resolutions, and in between those 2, there's information that has to be requested from the Butler County Auditor's Office. So the process has to be completed, and we have to submit the required documentation from the Auditor's Office, and the second resolution finalized to the Board of Elections by February 4th. Have it on the May ballot.
And this is a good time to say a renewal is no new taxes. It's just renewing it at the same rate that it is. So that 3 mil is probably down to $2.20 per thousand. But that's fine. It is what it is. It will continue keeping the same level of revenue and probably requiring propping up by the general fund.
And it's basically a Band-Aid over bullet hole right now. It's not going to sustain us for a long time.
Julie, you said the 3.0 would be a renewable or is a renew, and the other one, our other option was taken off.
Correct. We attempted to run a brand new additional that would replace the 2 that exist. They are the 0.75 was renewed,
24.
24. So we're 2 years apart. We tried to put one new one on that would increase the revenue. There was a resounding no on that, and I totally understand people's inability, or their ability to continue to pay more taxes. But this renewal would just be at the whatever you're paying currently, it just maintains it. There's no increase in tax at all.
And the other one is not the ORC, that Columbus passed that we could not run a,
You cannot do a renewal with an increase. You can
Okay.
no longer, or I'm sorry, you can no longer do a replacement.
replacement levy.
Replacements take it back up to so if that 3 mil is down to 2 mils now, because as property valuations increase, the rate decreases so that it's still generating the same, let's just say 500,000 annually.
Mhm.
A replacement allows you to take that 3 mil that's down to 2 and take it back up to 3, which would then increase. But they took that off the table. That is no longer an option. So our only options are renew it, which is maintain status quo. And then at some point in the foreseeable future, do we try to run a new one? A third one, who knows? It would have been a good time to consolidate the two. There's no way for us to consolidate the two without increasing taxes at this point.
Any feel for what a renewal and increase would be to make it the same amount as what we're getting now?
What you'd have to do is have to look at the new effective rates, and I don't know if they're published yet by the auditor and treasurer. You'd have to look at what the effective rates are, not what the gross millage is, and then basically combine those in some manner. So it would, I believe, and I'm just talking off the top of my head, I believe the revenue stream for fire is like 1.1. We're just shy of 1.1 million. So what we would have to do is try to effectively add those effective rates together to kind of get to the same conclusion. And that would be very confusing because it would be some weird number, not a round number that people are used to seeing. I don't know, but we don't have a lot of options left on the table. And again, as much as I love Representative Hall, I'm still very angry that he lobbied so hard to take the replacements off the table.
Mhm. But we have a lot to do in a short amount of time.
We have a lot to do and a lot to.
All right. Anything else?
That's all I have.
Purpose. Accept safety intervention grant funds through the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation for a turnout gear drying cabinet for the use in the fire department. Move for the adoption of resolution number 2026-006, entering into project grant agreement with the state of Ohio's Bureau of Workers' Compensation for its firefighter exposure to environmental elements grant in the fire department, establishing grant fund number 2925 entitled 2026 Fee Grant. That's FEEE. Authorizing the fire chief to execute the project, budgeting receipts, and making appropriations for expenses, and requesting an amended certificate of estimated resources from the Butler County Auditor. Need a second?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Hatton?
Yes.
Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Purpose: in an effort to keep the department self-sufficient, discussion regarding the need to renew and make continuous the current 3 mil levy in the fire department is determined to be necessary. The board requested the Butler County Prosecutor to prepare the following resolution, which begins the process of placing the renewal levy on the May 2026 general election ballot. Move for the adoption of resolution number 2026-007, declaring the necessity for levy of a tax. I need a second.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Hatton? Yes. Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Road Department Superintendent Paul Bulak.
I just have one thing for legislation this evening, to get your approval on a couple proposals for Disler Concrete to replace curb on Rabina Lane and Foxton Court this year.
Has this been discussed in previous meetings?
Yes.
Julie, was this in the budget for,
Yes.
from the previous meeting?
I believe there was a vote, correct? There was one of those votes by the previous board. Or was this?
No, it was within.
It was just within the budget, yes.
Any questions on that one? Move for the adoption of motion number 26-007 to approve Road Superintendent Paul Bulak to accept proposals from Disler Concrete of $44,000 for Rabina Lane curb work and of $40,600 for Fox Den Court curb work. Need a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Hatton?
Yes.
Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Police Department, Chief Robert Gerhart.
I would also like to welcome Trustee Hatton and Trustee Bennett to the board. And if you've heard any rumors that I'm long-winded during these, that is a complete myth. Usually very short and to the point.
Short,
What?
but not with.
Really? Really?
Like it.
Your license plate number? I'm just kidding. Very well played, sir. Well played.
Your wife was not here to hear that.
I know. She probably told him to say it. That's probably why it came out.
Here's what it was.
Wow. That one hurt. Okay, so a couple things real quick. Calls for service for December, which was extremely busy for us. We had 414 calls for service, 23 auto accidents. Several of those were injury auto accidents, which is very taxing on our people. And then we had 444 self-initiated calls. So 173 business checks, 83 vacation checks, 47 extra patrol, and 141 traffic stops, which I like to also throw out some other numbers that we had 0 burglaries because of the great work that our people do during this holiday season. Our detective investigated a couple cases, child endangering, we had a theft, misuse of credit cards, a disseminating matter harmful to juveniles, identity fraud. We had a failure to comply with a police officer in a pursuit that, due to the recklessness of the person, was called off by the officer, which was good that he followed policy, but that doesn't mean you're going to get away. And then we went with the SWAT team and took that person into custody down the road. So he'll be facing some serious charges for putting people in our township at risk of injury or death. He's also working on a couple of other major cases from previously theft cases in the township that I've already spoke about before. We had 7 K9 deployments for the month of December. Blitz was very active. Mostly he's active making Sergeant Little very old really fast, but that's okay. So we had a couple tracks. We also tracked for the Butler County Sheriff's Office. We were called to track for Ohio State Highway Patrol, reference an incident, and I don't know how many apprehensions. We had a couple of apprehensions off of those, and then just because sometimes just having the dog will allow people to tell us that they may have illegal narcotics in their car because they realize the dog's going to find it. So we also had 3 drug arrests where Blitz simply barking, "Let me out of the car," led to arrest for narcotics, illegal narcotics. So good work by Blitz. And who's the other guy? Oh, Sarge. Good job too, Sarge. Good stuff, Sarge. So a couple grant things before motions for the board. Our COPS grant, which is probably the most complicated federal grant I've ever written. I did see that the money was finally distributed into an account for us to get to. It is a convoluted mess. It's not easy to do, but Lori and I worked really hard on it. And then Julie just blesses everything that I mess up. So our violent crime reduction grant, which was the grant that we wrote to get our flock cameras, we just got the second payment of that. So the full 17,000 for the initial startup of that program is coming to the township, but the state moves very, very slow on. I send lots of emails like, hey, did you see this was approved? Are you going to send the checks out? So they don't move very fast. And I also did see our body camera grant, which is it's a continual quarterly reimbursement. The second one was approved and went through. So we'll be reimbursed for that for over 2 years. They don't front that money right away. You have to apply for the period, and then I'll reapply for that grant as soon as it opens up again next year. We got a nice donation from Critters and Cars, correct? Critters and Cruisers. I think it was something like that. They gave us a $7,000 community grant to help outfit the new cage for Blitz in his new car or one of our cars that we're retrofitting to last a little bit longer for him. So we're going to do a real nice thing for them, but we have to wait for it to get into the rotation to get this done. But that was phenomenal. I think that brings them to about 13,000 that they've donated to us because we went and participated in their events. They're great people, and I look forward to working with them in the future. They really, really care about canines and cops and making our program such a success, which I'm so blessed to have. I think that's it. So then the only resolution I have is, unfortunately, this is a little bit to do with what Fire Chief Johns talks about is we're going to be losing 2 full-timers to pay to other departments. It's a struggle that is real for us, and it's going to continue to happen, even though we are very frugal with taxpayer money. I just cannot compete with the level of pay that has gone up in this county. So we have a resolution. We're moving one of our part-time officers to fill the other full-time spot. And then we are going to hire Chase Little part-time, but with the anticipation he's going to be full-time this month because the other person has accepted a conditional offer. They just have 2 more steps in the process, and then I would anticipate they will be gone at the end of January. So we will keep plugging through, but it's unfortunate, but that is the nature of the beast. So that's all I have for the board tonight.
Chief?
May I ask a question about stats? The shots fired, there's a 1.
Yep. So believe it or not, we get a lot of those calls out here. So sometimes it is just, actually I thought we would have more being hunting season around here. So sometimes we get calls that are just at an odd time, which is, and I have no problem with people shooting guns that are legally allowed to shoot guns, hunting out here. Those things happen all the time. It's this case specifically, I believe, was the gentleman that we had an incident with where we tased, where we had a pursuit. There's a criminal matter going on with that. So there was an initial call of some very odd behavior. And we were working with the courts to make sure that person is still in jail as the current time facing some higher level felonies. But that's what that one call was. Other than that, if I listed every time a gun goes off in this township, it would be 4,000 calls. So, which, that's something that's just unique to that. So but it is related to another criminal matter.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Chief. Purpose, hire part-time police recruit Chase Little, move police officer Chanda Stilts to step 3 police officer pay grade, and promote part-time police officer Storm Back to full-time police officer. Move for the adoption of motion number 26-008 to approve hiring part-time police recruit Chase Little at a pay rate of $20 per hour, and upon successful completion of the Ohio Peace Officer Training Academy, promote him to part-time police officer step 1 at a rate of $29.38 per hour, and upon a vacant full-time opening, promote to full-time. Upon successful completion of his first year of employment, be eligible to apply for education reimbursement for tuition fees incurred while attending the Peace Officer Training Academy, in accordance with current township policy to approve moving full-time police officer Candace Stilts from step 2 police officer pay grade to step 3 police officer pay grade of $32.36 an hour, in accordance with the 2026 staffing level and pay summary rates, and upon a satisfactory performance review, and promote part-time police officer Storm Back to full-time police officer to fill the vacant school resource officer position at a rate of $32.36 per hour. All actions are to be effective January 11th, 2026. I need a second.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Hatton?
Yes.
Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Township business. None from the administration, anything from the board for old business. New business. Membership and OTA's Coalition of Large Ohio Urban Townships, known as CLOUT, $200 per year. Rescheduling of the February 5th, 2026 regular meeting due to potential conflict with attendance at the Ohio Township Association Conference.
Just so we can be clear, the first item, membership of CLOUT, that's do we want to participate? Do we not want to participate? We have in the past chose not to last year. There are opportunities to speak with lobbyists and things of that nature, depending on whatever needs we might have. We don't qualify because of population. We qualify because of budget. So we are considered a large township in that, in this organization, we are considered a large township. So it's up for discussion, but we need to know by February something for.
I thought it was January.
It is a January date.
Yes, January 16th.
If we're going to participate.
And this opportunity comes around every year. So if you want to wait and assess after being at the conference, gauge from other people what sort of benefits there are to being a member.
Unfortunately, there is a luncheon that is provided by CLOUT if you are a CLOUT member or if your township is, and I don't know if they'll let you attend, especially if you say I'm not going to eat, because I think that's the biggest problem, to listen to see what it is they discuss. I don't know how your conference schedule will shake out, but that is usually a pretty interesting to hear what other townships are and what kind of legislation that they might be pursuing, what the big items are for the other townships.
So it's basically just to give us access to lobbyists?
Not just that. There are other, it's been a while since we participated, and I haven't attended one of the conferences in 2 years, so it's not fresh in my memory, but they do talk about a lot of interesting things and things that are coming down the pike and things to be aware of. And when was the last time we remember? 23 or 24?
24.
2024 was our last.
What was the reason for membership at that time?
Initially, there was a reason because they were exploring and the NCAs, making it now a township can create an NCA without the commissioner's approval. At the time that Ross was trying to do it many years ago, the commissioners had to approve it, and they told us they wouldn't.
Okay.
That was one of the reasons that I remember being involved at that point. But Lori and I, when we've gone to the conferences together, we have typically attended the luncheon, and it is very, very interesting. to hear what's some of the bigger townships are. And sometimes we're big but small, hearing about things, knowing that in a few years' time it may affect us, is very, very interesting.
Seems like a negligible amount. Maybe the cost benefit of being a member versus the $200.
Sometimes they provide human resources information. Sometimes they provide, and they do a better job, in my humble opinion, than the Ohio Township Association in deciphering how laws are really going to be in effect. The OTA doesn't, in my opinion, again, that does not do that as well as other associations. Like County Auditors Association is very, very active in determining how legislation is going to affect you. I have found that in the past, the clout membership, you sometimes get more information out of them than you do the OTA.
How's that information provided?
Pardon?
How is that information provided? Do they email that to us or?
Part of newsletters and emails and things of that nature. But again, we went a whole year without it, so I'm kind of out of the loop on it.
It's minimal amount. Seems to be an educational benefit to the administration. And us.
Is that something you guys would go to or that we can go to? Or do they have monthly meetings?
Only aware of the one at the.
Yeah, I'm only aware of the one that happens at the conference every year. But if I don't know that there are or aren't, I know back in the day, Christine Matisick at Liberty Township was very, very active in clout. She might be somebody we could reach out to because I know she's still active in things. She was just here for the senior citizen levy.
Trustee Harkemeyer with Fairfield
Yes.
Township.
Trustee Harkemeyer with Fairfield Township is also very active with clout. Maybe if somebody was interested to reach out to her, she might be able to offer a different perspective. I don't know.
What townships were they in? The two ladies you just spoke of?
Well, Westchester would be a part, and Liberty and Fairfield Township are both.
There's the region.
I don't know, maybe we should talk to them to see if there's benefit to it. I mean,
Right.
it's only $200. But when do we have to make that decision?
Well, theoretically, we're supposed to turn in the
February
membership by the
16th.
16th.
It says on a resolution for new members. Would we be a new member?
That's a great question. It's saying resolution for new members. Since we opted out, we might be considered a new. So I also think that they're probably going to be happy to take our membership late. I don't see them telling us, no, you can't. You didn't respond by the appropriate. I think the first year we joined late. Oh,
Was that 23 or was it?
23 or 24. Well, I think we were in it for 2 years.
Mhm. With your exposure to them, are they more reactive to legislation that's already there?
No, they're more proactive to what's pending. They're kind of looking ahead, see what's coming down the pike.
Okay. Would that have been helpful knowing before we got, I don't want to say blindsided, but before we were kind of put behind the eight ball a little bit with the levy, not the renewable levy, but the other one, replacement levies?
I don't know how much they reacted to that. In my opinion, I don't think enough townships reacted at all to that. I feel like they said, oh, well, we can always pass a new one. Sometimes I don't know that townships understand how legislation is going to impact them until they're in the middle of it. There's not a lot of forward thinking, questioning. To be honest, with the referendum that's going to hit next November, or this coming November with the abolishment of taxes. I don't know how an organization like Clout may be out working to educate people. I certainly would think the OTA should be, to explain to people that nothing is free. You abolish tax, you're going to pay it one way, shape, or form.
Made for some fun holiday conversation at my house.
Imagine.
Not my direct family.
Okay. Well, your house sounded like a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
Somebody said something and I couldn't bite my lip anymore.
well, yeah, I know it sounds great. It looks good on paper. So I don't know how helpful they're going to be. I would also think that there's probably also going to be an immediate lawsuit if that passes. I can't foresee it not being.
I don't have a problem with the $200. That might give us a little bit of insight.
In the meantime, I would say, as trustees, feel free to reach out to Shannon or maybe somebody. I know Ann Becker is very active in other organizations outside of Westchester's board. She would be the person I would think of. I'm not sure at Liberty who is and who isn't now that Christine's gone.
Maybe we can all talk to Shannon individually.
Yeah, Shannon is very approachable and very responsive. So
I'll plan to have some sort of, I'll call and confirm if you want a resolution since we've previously been a member. But in any case, at the work session, we'll just include that as another opportunity to discuss whether to move forward based on the information that you've gathered.
and I can have a check ready for that meeting as well if that's.
And February 5th is on a Thursday. Do we need to move that back to isn't the 4th? The 4th is also a day of the OTA.
Yeah, that's a conference day. I mean,
Is returning for the meeting on the 5th a conflict for anyone that is attending the conference?
My intent was to return on time.
Yeah, mine too. They just haven't put out that workshop still yet. Unless I missed that.
normally, I would, because I'm not attending, I haven't been following it. So the conference is usually, is it Wednesday? I don't really remember.
Wednesday and Thursday and Friday.
And Friday. And a lot of people will not be attending the Friday afternoons. Those will be very lightly attended. We could potentially move it to Tuesday the 3rd, unless you were going up on Tuesday night to be up there bright and early Wednesday morning. We could always back it up to the 2nd, which is a Monday. And it's Groundhog's Day, according to my. So if you'd like to do that, we can.
I can do the 3rd.
Third, I'm open as well.
Third's fine.
The 3rd?
Mm-hmm.
Is that all right with?
Mhm.
Okay. Perfect. Nothing like setting a meeting schedule and then immediately changing the schedule. That's Murphy's Law.
Any other new business from the board? Announcements, none from the administration. Anything from the board? Correspondence, nothing from the administration. Anything from the board? Topics for the January 15th, 2026 work session. That would be the fire levy resolution to proceed. I guess that would be our last moment to say that we could also do the clout thing, since that's on the
Yeah, I
15th.
recommend. If there's anything that jumped out to you tonight from a financial, if there's a report that you just, we want to break that down. I'm happy to, or like I said, if you want to take them home, I know they're fascinating reading. But if you want to take them home and look at them, and then if you just want to email either Lori and I and say, hey, I would like to have a little more information about how this is put together, how that is put together, why do you do it this way? Why do you do anything we need to do? Happy to expound upon.
I actually have one item I forgot for this evening. Whenever a property is put into the nuisance abatement process, the first action is they receive a letter. And the second page has signatures of the trustees. I just make copies of the second page, so I do need
I'll add it to the
everyone
pile.
to.
Just for housekeeping so that the whole table's aware, at least for the foreseeable future, we're just going to pile up everything and then pass it once, so you have an opportunity to look at everything. We just need to make sure by the time it gets to Trustee Bennett, the pile makes its way back to Lori and I. There's no pressure on you down there.
Yeah, I'll give it to the police chief.
I got you.
Anything else from the board? Move for the adoption of motion number 26-009 to retire to executive session to discuss the employment, promotion, or compensation of a public employee in accordance with Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G1. Time?
7:10.
Need a second.
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Hatton?
Yes.
Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes.